Mopwack, what's happening with you? Mopwack, Mopwack,
It's the mop, not the wop. What's going on, good people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mopwack Reacts. Today, man, we getting that for it. Poetik Flakko. Don't even trip, man. It's gonna be him and his whole little thing. You know what I'm talking about. The trap lords, the no jumpers, and all that, man. He keep getting out of his body, man, and speaking in places and spaces he ain't even, his opinion ain't qualified to be. You know what I mean? And now that I know a little bit more about the community guidelines and what's allowed and why it's allowed, man, I got a lot of confidence to go ahead and get into it. So without further ado, man, what I'm reacting to this video, let me see, is a Trap Lord Ross and No Jumper called out for doing this in the culture. And this is from Poetik Flakko. And I know some people say if you react to their content, you should subscribe to their content. But in maybe in other situations I'd do that, but I wouldn't do that in this situation. Before we even get into it, I just want to address what y'all looking at on the screen right now. You know, it's like the Kings of Hip Hop Media Unite. Y'all remember when this came out? This was they recorded this the day after. They recorded this the day after Brick Baby and them got picked up on, and Big U them got picked up on that indictment. Now, nobody up here is a king of media. Is a hip hop media king, or really, Vlad is the closest to a staple in it. No Jumper, Van Lathan, Adam had him on there, man, right after Fig Muted them left, and he described it perfectly. I'm gonna try to slip that clip in here, right here.
I think No Jumper actually has, this is a testament to you, I don't think No Jumper is a hip hop platform. I don't.
We're bigger than that. I agree.
think that No Jumper,
we're largely hip hop adjacent and based on.
I think No Jumper is a pioneer in what I call WIC, weird internet culture, and that's not a diss. That's a combination of hip hop, gang culture, tattooed white boys, porn, all of that. There's actually no platform like No Jumper.
Everything that
No
I'm
Jumper.
interested in.
That's what I was getting at, WIC, and that's what he does. Minus the porn and the white tattoos, that's what Academics does. But with Drake, Trap Lord Ross, he doesn't cover hip hop. He covers the antics. He covers murders, criminals in hip hop, if you will. And I say that like that for a reason, because they politicize. We're gonna get into that deeper. Vlad is the closest to a hip hop platform. Closest to it he has had them, you know what I mean, over the time. I don't have to break down his history. If y'all here, then you should know who Vlad is. But anyways, I just wanted to say that before Flakko even says whatever he about to say, because we starting here, and I'm sure we starting here for a reason. I'm gonna stop this a whole lot. This video could be extensive, but man, we got a lot to. We're gonna cut all the lies in their tracks today. Let's go.
This panel that No Jumper had a couple of weeks ago was pissing a lot of people off. The critiques of the panel ranged from the title, Kings of Hip Hop Media, people have a problem
Matter
with.
of fact, this is what we gonna do. I ain't finna be looking at this. I'm gonna put me right there. We ain't finna do that. All right, let's go, y'all.
I guess them calling themselves the King of Hip Hop Media from the discussions that was had on the panel.
And I was like, what the f is...
Hey, dude right here, legend. I ain't gonna say I agree with everything he says, because as soon as he get onto the GPS and all that type of, I kind of lose me. And whenever he get into like the political, he loses me. But when it come to like, for the most part, anything like when he get on that black shit and that social commentary shit, like I say, minus the GPS shit, I'm with him damn near 100%. I'd say about 95, 93. Yeah, 91. Give him my birth year. Let's do it like that.
Is
But
this?
if y'all don't know who that is, y'all should. If y'all don't know who, that's FD Signifier. He do video essays and shit where he sit there and do long form, just break shit down like into great detail. That's what I want to do ultimately. We getting there. You know what I'm saying? We getting there. I'm still figuring out how to do all this shit. So, but anyways, I just wanted to tell y'all, man, that's cold motherfucker right there. I've seen her before, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all like I'm familiar with these people, man. If that's who I think that is, let's go.
The latest group of creators who offered up their critique of this panel is FD Signifier Olay on the Olay and Friends podcast, and AJ is also there too, Potty Mouth, and the lady in the middle. Don't
I thought that was Potty Mouth. Potty Mouth. Yeah, man. Potty Mouth is one of those dudes. This ain't even about you. For whatever reason, FD Signifier took a liking to you, and he rocks with you, and he looks at you as like his street liaison. Look, man, you remember the conversation we had. But anyway, this ain't about you. You could just see through somebody, kind of like that.
I don't know her name, but she's dope too. Now, I'm covering this because they at least cared enough to articulate themselves beyond the point of he's white and he can't speak on this. FD Signifier kicked off the HR meeting of hip hop media by rattling off a couple of their violations. One of the first violation being they just looked corny sitting on the podcast.
It's funny though. So sometime last week, clearly they called them the Culture Vultures United. It was Vlad, Trap Lord Ross, Adam 22, Academics, Whack 100. It was like the worst. It's the most corrupt and worst hip hop people in the world that are ruining the entire culture.
AJ, that's your homies, right? AJ, that's your mans, right?
Bro, I'm sure anybody that's seen that kind of thought of a similar title to what he thought. Because like I say, in mine, what I immediately thought was a social media psyops unit. Because like I say, in my mind, I think that they all have handlers, and it leads back up to the CIA. I got conspiracies, but that's another story for another day. But what he said, man.
What?
I put at him.
That is his man, I heard.
But this is the thing. When I saw that episode, I was like, these never need to get in the room again. They look so-
Menace material. I remember you. he won that was calling Dijon sassy. That's what they call him out. They have a podcast where they review other podcasts. And yeah, it's not really my thing. They ain't wrong, and they got good points. Like I say, it's just not my demographic, if you will. But you check it out, you might like it.
So lame. Like, just look, DJ Vlad over there high out of his mind. Like, he was damn near asleep. And then Whack 100 is getting mad because Academics is like, well, you kind of offering all these people up to the police. Then he gets mad for getting called out for the things that we always see Whack 100 doing. It's like,
yeah, that's just hate. But I do see the picture they're talking about, man.
Bro, ain't nothing to hate about what he just said. And ain't no hating what he just said. That's literally what it is. What the fuck you talking about?
I think Vlad is like on the couch, like. So
Vlad, like, man, yeah, man, y'all about to blow my cover. I've been doing this shit fine. I was the police for what, 20 years, 25 years. I've been doing this thing, not 25, 20 years. And now y'all doing all this. Y'all making it hot for the motherfucking online police. That's what Vlad thinking.
I do understand it, all right? I do understand. Now, they do get into voyeurism and being nosy, and I do disagree with their initial points on voyeurism.
There's nosy, then there's voyeurism. Like, nosy is what's happening outside. Oh, this is happening outside my door.
Looking outside.
Voyeurism is I'm peeking through your door and listening on your wall. Like, that's a different level.
Yeah,
and
but
it's been versus this Trap Lord Ross is he's been doing this for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
For him to have just moved here, and I wish I knew what city he was in.
There's a stigma when it comes to voyeurism. Even when FD Signifiers speak on it, he's framing it as if it's inherently exploitative and problematic. Now, there may be some forms of voyeurism.
It's absolutely exploitative and problematic. Lil Bill did a whole piece on it. Gangland Neem did a whole reaction to it. It was a long piece though, so I wasn't gonna I couldn't get into it that long. But this one right here, the worst kind of hip hop fan, Man, if y'all ain't never seen this, go check him out, man. Bro, breaking it down. He's one of those FD signified type dudes. Yeah, give this one a watch, man. It goes into great detail, and it gave me an even more perspective to look at it from. Flakko was disgusting for our culture, man, and he's doing this intentionally. He know what he's doing. What he's saying. This isn't what he believes, or even if it is what he believes, he knows he knows is problematic, and he. All right, let him say what he's saying, and then I'm gonna chop him up.
Voyeurism that creates a spectacle out of black culture and may perpetuate a legacy of, let's say, racial appropriation across the lines. Maybe, but that's
maybe. You see how you gloss over that? You throw out a strong piece, and then you just gloss over it with maybe. Maybe what? That's a critical point. You don't think? Man, look. We're going to come back to it. The way that they do these videos when Trap Lord Ross, the Swamp Stories, and Bucking, whatever the one that just in the Avalon, when they do this shit, y'all have to understand this is how it's the same way they had black exploitation films in the 70s. You have to portray this shit to the people, to the masses, so that they can internalize this shit and see people and take them, this who they is. They deserve what, you know what I mean? Or they don't deserve this, because this is what they gonna do with it. Why would we, look, this guy right here, he sat up there and said, man, Big U, well, before any of this came down, a year ago, he was screaming from the mountaintop, why would we be giving money to the gangs to try to fix the community? Why would we try to give money to and all this? That money shouldn't go there. That money should go to the people that's trying. And the whole thing, it wasn't about the gangs, but he was using the gangs to attack the people that's in the environments that the gangs control, which are our communities. And I'm only phrasing it like that because that's how the politicians phrase it, and that's why he's doing it like that, so he can influence the people who internalize shit or their news, or they digest shit in that format. That's why they're digesting it. He not making this like it's entertaining. The motherfuckers watch it and laugh at him. I'll be like, man, Flakko got some good points, but man, he's doing his part as an African to make sure that African Americans seem less, to put it lightly. And I got more to say. We're gonna unpack it further.
not always the case, and to me that's like an oversimplification of things, because when I think about voyeurism, I think about curiosity and fascination. There's a reason why hip-hop is a global thing. There's a reason why hip-hop has expanded globally, and it has expanded globally due to hip-hop own's ability for others to resonate with it.
They took Beans out the slums of South Philly. Don't okay, cool.
You from the pit, yeah, from the pit.
Okay, they took Beans out of South Philly and tried to put him in there with Kanye and Chris and Neef and all these other medium street dudes. And Beans couldn't manage, and he was too reckless because he was still carrying that real street like mentality into the studio and into hip hop media and all that nonsense. And they eventually pushed him out because of that. And that happened to a lot of street rappers over the course of like the first 20, 30 years of hip hop. But now the media comes to the streets to see what these dudes are doing, and they're doing exactly what they've always been doing. We're not talking about a new thing of young dudes getting killed in the streets, unfortunately. It's just that now they have cameras to document it. They get to tell on themselves and whoever else that did it, and it helps speed up the cycle of retaliation, which means people like Trap Roll Ross can sit in the background being like, oh, and this happened on this corner, and then this happened on this corner. And I wish I could do a British accent.
But it pays so well now. It pays so well now.
And it pays well.
And that's why Flakko is trying to protect it. That's his subject matter. He uses the shit that Trap Lord Ross is to push his agendas, to push to his ideas and ideologies that why should you put money here? Why should you help these people? These people right here can't be helped. You know what I mean?
Not get any of the money off that either.
My question for FD would be, is there a way for white people to engage with hip hop that you wouldn't have a problem with? Because right now it feels like...
You see how he did that? Is there a way for white people to engage with hip hop in a way that you would like that whole thing is disingenuous, and that's logical fallacy.
Any white person engaging with anything black culture, I have a problem with. And I feel like his argument is people like...
That's not a motherfucker's point. That was not the point. That when he do that, he playing in our face. Just know that.
Rawls and others engaging with hip hop commodifies black culture, which I don't know why he would have a problem with commodifying black culture. Bro, there's a reason why this little thing that started in the Bronx, in the black and brown community of the Bronx, the culture, the style, how they dress, how they talk, the slang, the beats, the words. Like, for God's sakes, how many videos have you seen on TikTok of somebody in Japan dressing, acting, talking, and dancing like they from the Bronx? Or somebody in Portugal dressing, acting, talking like they from Chicago and A.T. Keith? So if we have accepted and we're even proud that culture, hip hop is...
Who said we wanted that? This what he don't get. Yeah, I'm somewhere in his mind, he don't, bro. Black trauma is global entertainment. That's global cosplay. This what you get what I'm saying?
Is our biggest export. Hip hop is our greatest asset. Then how are you mad at voyeurism, right? It wouldn't be our biggest export. It wouldn't be our greatest asset. It wouldn't be a global expansion if we were against voyeurism. It just don't make sense. This little thing that started in the Bronx wouldn't be in Portugal without voyeurism. So that's what I don't understand. Now we can talk about, what is exploitative, what is not okay, what makes a spectacle out of black culture. That conversation we can have. But
then stop right there. You see, this ain't the first time. Remember earlier, critical point, and then dismisses it with Mabel. And now he does this again. He said, hey, we can have this very important conversation. But now he's going to shift it away from that. To shift the whole, like, it's disgusting, man. It's fucking garbage.
But shaming anybody for, I guess, being fascinated enough to peep through the hole of hip hop's door, I don't know. I don't agree. But, I do respect the point, though.
But it pays so well now. It pays so well.
He respects the point because he knows good and goddamn he wouldn't be able to win the discussion. He wouldn't be able to stalemate it. He could stalemate it because that's what he's doing right now. That's what this video is him attempting to stalemate it. But it's the poorest attempt because it's difficult to do, damn near impossible without just completely exposing your hand for what you really are. Man, let's go.
Well now. And it pays well. And they not get any of the money off that either.
They don't get the money off the Trap Lil Ross video, but they do get the money and the residual from the promotion and the attention that they parlay into a rap career.
Right. So it incentivizes the fuckery.
Yeah.
But the thing I think...
Y'all hear this, man. Y'all hear this. That makes sense to you? And just tell me if I'm tripping. Maybe tell me I'm tripping in the comment section, man. But tell me why, man. Tell me why. Matter of fact, tell me why I'm tripping.
I think that strikes me about like Trap Lil Ross and some of these people is like, okay, let's say like it's one thing to just document something or you think that like people find this entertaining, which I think is problematic for a number of different reasons in and of itself. But let's say like there's that. Trap Lil Ross is advancing an argument. Like I said, when I watched some Trap Lil Ross was because my friend hit me up to tell me I was in one of his videos and he was talking about New York and it was like he was talking about it for the purposes of like when I cut it off was when I realized he was like, oh, this woman, challenged the mayor about, his rhetoric on crime, but she's wrong. Essentially, New York City is a crime. Right. That's what I mean. New York is in fact this criminal place based on it. I'm like, you're saying that based on, I guess, where you feel like you insert, you have the ability to comment on the state of the criminal system in New York City or like New York City's like political scene. Because think about that. He's politicizing something because where else would I come in? You know what I mean? Like, why am I in this video?
I didn't watch the Trap Lil Ross video, so I can't really speak on that. But if it happens how she said it happened, then she's not wrong. See, there's a difference between engaging with the culture and being one of the tools in the culture's utility belt.
If it happened like bro. Look at, man, y'all can see, man, look. If it happened like she said it happened, and that's messed. Now this is 3 times, damn near, basically, all 3 points he's raised so far. That he's just sidestepping. He addresses him and then sidesteps and runs past it to get on to some other rhetoric that I guess is to drown out the logic.
Belt and providing something to the culture and being an authority in the culture. There's a fine line, right? For example, I'm not from New York. I don't live in New York. I don't have family members who's in New York. So I can't really speak on what is happening in New York unless I'm just some type.
I started rolling weed, man. Just bear with me, y'all. That's what that noise was. Grabbing shit.
A super political guy who has spent my entire life studying and researching the political climate in New York, right? So if Trap Lil Ross was speaking like an authority, I wouldn't agree with speaking as an authority, but if he was just speaking, I guess, giving his opinion and stating this is my opinion, then cool. But yeah, disagreeing with Lauren when it comes to the political scene in New York is kind of crazy. But I'll have to see the video, man, because I don't think my guy Trap Lil Ross. I don't know, bro. Let me just wait until I watch the video.
Because he is jumping in to our political discourse on how our city should be policed or not, and he is saying that based on his fucking like anthropologist look at in the zoo.
what gets me right, see, I'm doing this live, so I don't have the. I mean, I've cheated. I've robbed myself of the privilege of actually watching the video that he's talking about. He doesn't know about, so that I can have the context. Like, he could literally have watched the video that he's saying that he didn't watch to have the context from. So he's just gonna give reasonable doubt, or excuse me, give benefit of the doubt. But this is an edited video. Pay attention, y'all. I think pay attention, y'all.
You know what I mean? That's how he's looking at drill rappers in New York City as though that's representative. And I think that's very different than just documenting it. It's even very different than like academics when he used to do Chirac and people felt like he was too comedic or taking too much light in this. He has gone another, like, to me, like an extra white man step of I'm not only observing these people, I'm not only inserting myself into their lives and their criminality and all these different things, and I'm like feeding it to the masses for the purposes of making arguments as to how these should be policed. Yeah. You know? And
that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. That's what I was saying in the video I did, in the Glasses Malone video I did, when I was talking about that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. This is what Poetik Flakko makes this content for. This is why he appreciates Trap Lord Ross, the Swamp Stories, all these channels. He appreciates them because they give him the rhetoric and the talking points for what his how he sees us. But he comes up there on these hip hop platforms and plays in our face like he's with us, like he fuck with us. And when I say that, I'm not talking about criminality, but see, you gotta be us to get what I'm saying. And even still, a lot of people that ain't from it can still get it because they got enough context. That's all I'm saying. This shit is sick, man. We gonna keep going though. But that's what I've been saying this whole time. Poetik Flakko, not just what he wants to see happen, but his content serves a greater purpose for other people, bigger than him, and that's who he does it for. Make no mistake about it.
And that's pushing the narrative.
I guess I'm struggling to see where the race component comes into this. There should be a conversation with proximity. So Trap Lord Ross is in the UK. So I feel like the argument should be Trap Lord Ross, you're in the UK. You should.
He just tried to, come on now. No, more logical fallacy.
Shouldn't really have an opinion, or go to extra steps to give an opinion on how people should be policed in New York. But if we're talking about race, bro, there's white folks in the hood, Hispanics in the hood, Chinese in the hood, Asians in the hood. And what, are we saying that those people is voyeuristic for essentially living out their culture since, they lived in proximity to quote unquote blacks? And at some point, right, the melting pot happened and their culture is black culture, right? Or urban culture, I should say. So I don't feel like
I can't even make sense of what he just said. That makes no intelligible sense. Like, I can see string theory logic, but that makes no rational sense. Like, that makes literally no rational sense.
The argument should be, Trap Lord Ross, you're white, and it don't matter where you live or where you're from or how in proximity you are to these people, you can't speak on it. Because if Trap Lord Ross was living in proximity, then he'll be able to speak on it. Like, here, for example, right, they brought up...
Here's the point. Check this out, right? Flakko isn't in proximity. He shouldn't be speaking on it. He's just as big a problem as Trap Lord Ross. More of a problem because Trap Lord Ross at least keeps his shit targeted on motherfuckers who label themselves as demons and shit like that. You know what I mean? And like I say, at least he keep his shit on motherfuckers that's labeling themselves demon, but this motherfucker come after the black community as a whole. So that's why he's more problematic. And I gotta pay closer attention, man.
For example, academics speaking on Chicago, to me, ain't no different than Trap Lord Ross speaking on New York. So if you have a problem with what Trap Lord Ross is currently doing, you should also have a problem with the war in Chirac. Now, from my perspective, I don't have a problem.
We do. Y'all see what he just did there, bro? That's logical fallacy. If y'all got a problem with Swamp Stories and what Trap Lord Ross do, then you should have a problem with the war in Chirac. When everybody, like, the only people who have a problem with the war in Chirac are the people that are from the culture and community that was fucking represented. Nobody from there, except for the people that benefited from it, appreciated that shit. And I'm not gonna give no regards to no little kids, like, yeah, I like that shit. That shit was tight. That, you know what I mean, do Zans, pop perks, and play with, don't give a damn. You know what I mean? They don't know no fucking better. He ain't live no fucking no shit. You know what I mean?
Problem with either, right? I feel like academics at the time provided something that was necessary. All right, without academics, we wouldn't have any insight into what's currently going on in Chicago. Without academics, we wouldn't know none of the people we currently know. Without academics, there probably wouldn't be a Lil Durk or a Lil Reese at this particular moment. So,
without academics, we wouldn't, bro. Hey man, I'm glad for every black man's success. I'm glad for everybody to make it out of the trenches and shit. But it's 2025. I'm 34. I've been listening to hip hop since I was since I was born. When I was 2 years old, I remember looking in the mirror thinking I was Ice Cube and shit. You know what I mean? This shit is. We could have did without Chief Keef and all that. Now, I ain't saying that the black man shouldn't have got on and got their money and all that shit, but we could have did without the whole drill shit coming into it. And don't get me wrong, I was with it. I was with all that shit, cause I ain't too long been refined myself. But looking back, hindsight 2020, maybe we could have did without that shit. Maybe it would have been better if we didn't get, you know what I mean? So, like I say, from the inside looking out, what Flakko's saying don't sound like shit. From the outside looking in, you know what I mean? You let him talk long enough, he makes sense.
I do feel like academics was a necessary tool on hip hop's utility belt, just like I feel like Trap Lil Ross currently is.
Shout out to Lil Bill, and Lil Bill was talking about how people try to make a distinction between, people like Trap Lil Ross and Buckingham, whoever, whatever, right? And it's like, oh, at least Buckingham guy goes into these hoods or interviews them. Like I even saw he was in that Luisa Jeff video I watched today because he did an interview with one of these guys and ended up in a shooting right after, and like his cameraman got shot, right? And so something like that might make people feel like, oh, this person has like more of a, because but I'm like, no, your level of proximity and knowing these people or talking to them or like being nosy and like learning things you think about their life does not in any way amount to real information. Like the ability to draw conclusions or insights as to what is or what isn't. That's what seems nuts to me. It's like, oh, because I listen to this music and I talk to these and I know that there's a killing on this corner and these don't like each other. Now I have I'm a primary source. You know what I mean? Like I can discuss this.
100%.
Yeah.
No, but if you have information, I guess nobody else does. Don't that make you a primary source? So in terms of, let's say, academics and war inside, right now, maybe that's a bad example because even Ak admitted that he was getting his information off of Reddit and the internet. But let's just say, just for argument's sake, bro, that academics was one of the only people actually.
Do y'all hear that? There we go again. Even though it wasn't this, let's just hypothetically assume it was that for my argument's sake. Man, you so bullshit, dude.
Doing the research, talking to people in those communities, having conversations with them, getting all the stories from different sources, then wouldn't academics be the primary source? Then wouldn't academics be able to speak on what's going on in those communities more than any one of us? Now, let's just say academics wasn't a black man from Jamaica. Let's say academics was white. Would that take away from the fact that he has knowledge, from the fact that he knows what's going on, from the fact that he's the primary source? Would that take away? I don't think so. You feel me? And that's my only problem with this, man. But I actually thoroughly enjoy watching O'Laurin videos. I watch Olay and Friends probably every episode. Yeah, man, listen, so shout out to them, man. But
okay, man. We're going to wrap it up here. But I want to say this to Flakko. This is what I want for you, man. I hope you fall in love with some beautiful woman with a terrible personality who convinces you to stop doing content and leave the States. And y'all live happily ever after. Far, far the fuck away from here. And I'm gone.
Mopwack, what's happening with you? Mopwack, 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 Mopwack,